So, all right, guys, we got to get this one right. On three, we're going to say, welcome back to Extraordinary Thoughts Put on Their Mind. One, two, three.
Welcome back to our mind.
And we back.
That'll work right there.
Yeah.
And we back. And we
Yeah.
back. And we back. And we back. And we
Y'all did y'all best. And that's all that matters.
Now, before we get started with this episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like this episode, share this podcast, and if you can, do me a favor, head on down to the review section and leave an honest review, because this podcast was dedicated to helping us become a better version of ourselves. And I don't know what that version is, but I know that just like we need a little bit more money, just like we need a little bit more sleep, just like we need a little bit more of anything in life, we deserve to be a little better than what we are right now.
What's going on, everybody? It's that ordinary podcaster with the extraordinary thoughts that tells you to stop being great and be extraordinary. I'm your host, Demetrius Thickman, also known as Meech Speaks, and welcome back to another episode of Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind. Okay, so I'm not even about to lie to you right now. I don't know how the Instagram algorithm works. You feel me? Like that algorithm that had me in a headlock for the past year, and I will tell you that it does have a way of showing you things that you definitely need to see. And I remember I was scrolling through Instagram. I'm going through Instagram, and this woman, she keeps popping up, and she's talking about self-love. She's talking about self-care. She's talking about a lot of things that you know that I'm in it. You feel me? Like you already know I'm in it. And I'm like this, like, damn, all right. I see her stuff again. I'm like, all right. I see her stuff again. I'm like, all right. So I go over to my vision board, and I start writing down names of who I need to have on the show. And at the top of my vision board, I wrote her name down, and I said, like, I need to have her on the show. Okay. I love her energy. I love exactly what she's doing. I'm a fan, you know what I mean? And I'm a firm believer that if I bring anybody on this show, I feel like I need to be a fan. I need to be interested if I'm gonna have a conversation. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, like, please welcome, Joanna, but y'all probably know her as J-Ma. Let me rephrase, you probably have been following her, heard her Instagram, Heal with J-Ma. Did I do that right?
Yeah, you did. It was good. Amazing.
How are you doing?
I am good. I am so excited to have this conversation with you.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited. I was honestly so flattered that when I saw your email, I was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like so excited. And I was like, this is an amazing opportunity. I'm going to take it.
Oh my God. I wrote that email, right? Like I wrote that email and, going into the scenario, once again, just my negative, realistic nature. I'm already expecting a no, or I'm busy, or, currently right now the schedules don't line up. So I sent the email and I'm like, all right, well, if she comes back, she comes back. And somebody always tells me like, you need to expect a no, but, be excited for a yes. So when you wrote back, I was like this, oh shit. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I appreciate that. Thank you.
That's so funny. We had both we had the same reaction to that. So.
I was like, then I had to proofread the email because I type fast. And although like I got a robust vocabulary, I got the reading and spelling of like a third grader for some reason. Like I'm telling you right now, like if the phones didn't fill in those words, I know what it needs to say, but if it didn't fill in the word, I'll be done.
Yeah. That's me texting all my friends, so it's okay.
Oh my God, yeah. So how was Hawaii?
Amazing. It was definitely like a self-love trip for myself to just really, I honestly feel so spiritual from it. Like it's insane. Being able to spend time alone and be alone with myself is very empowering.
I love that. That's something that we don't give ourselves that much of a gift to it. You know what I mean? As far as being alone with ourselves and being comfortable with being alone with ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, so many times do we feel like this need that we have to have somebody around us. We have to have somebody else fill up that void. You already got somebody doing that. You feel me? It's you.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's actually with my self-love journey, that's the first thing I decided to do was find happiness being alone. And since then I've been able to kind of level up in different ways of being comfortable being alone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So speaking of like self-love journey, like do you mind us, telling us from the beginning? Just when did you embark
Yeah.
on this?
I was in a 3-year relationship, and that relationship like was amazing. I fell deeply in love with this guy, but unfortunately, I wasn't really growing as an individual in that relationship. I was very dependent on him.
Mhm.
I was very comfortable. I wasn't working out at all. Barely went to the gym, and there was a point where he was growing as an individual, but I wasn't. And he was really trying to help me grow, but I just wasn't seeing it. And we ended up breaking up because, little fights kind of were happening and it all kind of came together. And we break up. It's 2020, April 2020. Everything's closed. It's COVID. Yeah, I wasn't working for like 2 months because everything was closed. And then I was like, oh my God, now I'm single. It's a pandemic. And now I don't know how I'm going to heal because I can't even see my friends.
How are you going to come outside?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So by that time in that relationship, I was going to the gym. So, I was able to work out and everything, which was great. And at that time, I think I already lost like 30 pounds. Anyways, with my self-love journey, the first thing, like I said, was finding happiness being alone. And I literally Googled it. And there was a list. Yeah, there was a list of what you could do. And it was more like find ways to just be alone in scenarios that you'd usually have a friend in, or even like your significant other in. So like go to cafes alone, go on self-love dates, and like things like that. And I was like, oh my God, okay. So then I started doing it, and it was like really, really uncomfortable because I'm like, everyone's seeing me, I'm by myself. But I'm like, no one cares.
Nobody cares.
No one cares. But yeah, at first it was really uncomfortable, but then I just kept doing it. I would at least do it like once a month. I'd take myself on a self-love date.
I like that.
Yeah. So that's where it all started. And from there on, like I had TikTok, I had my friends to just find different ways of like loving myself. And it was like through like being there for myself mentally, spiritually, and physically.
Really?
Yeah.
When we hear about like journeys and we hear about like, when people like decide to like make this change within themselves, it's always this, and this isn't me trying to like minimize the journey or anything like that. It's just, you always hear them say like, well, fuck, I lost everything. I hit rock bottom. And yours is legit. Like you're just growing. You know what I mean? Like you decided that, I just want to grow. I just want to I want to be comfortable being alone. I just want to learn me. And I'm just like, I love that for you. And I recently just learned that word. Like I chipped my tooth and I went into dental, and I told the lady, I was like, hey, I chipped my tooth, I chipped my cap. I need to get it fixed. And she looked me dead in my eyes and said, I love that for you. And I was like, I don't think that's the right contents, but I understand what you're trying to say. I don't think that's the right context. You know what I mean? Like this is a big issue for me right now. She looked me in my face and she said, because I walked in there, and I'm like, hey, I chipped one of my my crown. And she looked at me, she said, I love that for you. And I'm like, I don't think that's the right context, but I get what you're saying.
I kind of don't get it why she would say that.
Like, there's nothing to love about this moment right now. Like, I'm not in love with this. You know what I mean?
I don't love that for you.
I don't love this for me. I don't love this for me right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pulling fragments out of my mouth right now. Like, I don't love this for me. But no. I don't know. Maybe this is a moment for you. So I love that you love this for me. And as I look at that word, loving this for me, I think about the moments where it's like I'm doing things and I'm not loving it. I'm not loving it, and then when you peel back the layers, it's like, it's not that you don't love that. You don't love being around yourself. You don't love you, and I feel like, oh, please.
Oh no, I was going to say that nothing's guaranteed in this life, but your relationship with yourself. Like, even if someone's going to tell you they're going to love you forever, that doesn't mean they're going to be there forever. So it's really important to build that relationship with yourself, with like when you like no matter what, you're gonna be there. Because yeah, like I
100%.
said, you can't guarantee anything with best friends, with family, with your significant other that you think you're gonna have forever. You can't guarantee that. So if you can guarantee the relationship with yourself and know that you have yourself no matter what you go through, that's exactly why I did what I did, because I depended on him for so much. And when I lost him, I was like, who am I? I was relying on him forever. I was good to be like a stay-at-home wife. I was good with that. Like financially, I was good. And like when he left and everything, that's when I was like rock bottom. So I was like, I'm going to rebuild myself and I'm never going to depend on anyone ever again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's the weirdest feeling, especially when you're learning to be comfortable alone with yourself, is like, fuck, like, dude, like, I didn't know that I could enjoy these things by myself. Let me rephrase. I didn't know that I could do this. I can enjoy things like this by myself. You know, like when you mentioned, like, you know, you're sitting at a cafe, and I remember my first time where I took myself on a date. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sitting there and I felt so uncomfortable because I'm that guy in the corner by himself. And I'm like, I hope people don't think that I'm just like, just being weird. And I'm like, I'm not being weird. I'm just by myself. I'm just by myself. You know? And then the crazy part is that, like, once you get comfortable with being by yourself, I felt like, and I don't know how you felt, especially since we came out of the pandemic, is that I got so used to being by myself and becoming so comfortable with that it felt uncomfortable being around other people.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I think it's like when you're so comfortable being alone, I just notice vibes from people. And if I don't like the people, like the person's vibe, I'm just like, because I like mine. I like my friends. I'm very selective on who I spend my time with now. Because I'm just so comfortable like being alone with myself and with my friends, and I know. And I don't ever put myself in a situation where I don't want to spend time with people because I'm like, my time is valuable. Yeah.
I always look at it and I love the fact that you say, you know, you start to pay attention to their vibes, their energy. You know what I mean? Like there was so many times where I would ignore that. You know what I mean? Like I would see their red flags and I would just ignore it. And then I would try to make excuses, or I would try to adjust my frequency to match theirs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would try to adjust my frequency so I can match theirs. And at the end of the day, I would either feel drained or, you know, it was always, I would feel drained because I'm overworking to match a frequency I'm not supposed to be around.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, do you find that you give people like the benefit of the doubt when you're like, you kind of know they're like not the best for you, but you still like give them the benefit of the doubt? I honestly feel like some people just like my vibe and everything. And they're like, oh, I kind of want to be her friend, or like, I want to be around her. I want to be like her. I've dealt with this multiple times, and they end up being like a very toxic person to me and I just get drained, or like I'm always at fault for some reason. But I'm just like, my other friends who I've been friends with for many years, like see it too. They're like, you give people the benefit of the doubt, but we see how bad this person's for you, but we don't say anything because, like, you know, you're trying, you have love for them. But now I'm just like, nope, no new friends.
I love that. You know, and it's so crazy because it's like when you go down that journey, right? Like when you start to when people talk about like self-love, like and really learning to love yourself, you know what I mean? Like you have this appreciation for yourself, because a lot of us we need that love from the outside first. But when you love yourself, that love is being produced from the inside. It's coming out. You know what I mean? And I always looked at it in two perspectives. It's that imagine if you ever seen like in the cartoons and somebody smells and you can see the smell like illustrated around them? Yeah. You know what I mean? And people, naturally, they're going to be repulsed by that and they want to keep away. That's what it's like when you have bad energy about yourself. That's how I perceive it. And when you have good energy, it's almost it radiates, and good energy attracts everyone because they need to be up under it. It's like the sun. You feel me? And when you bring those people, they may not have anything good for you. They just want to be around you. And I noticed that a lot the moment that I decided to like get my shit together.
Yes. Yeah. People are very attracted to that, that energy that people have. And it's actually funny how you say the sun, because people actually say like I'm like a ray of sunshine.
You are.
And I think that
you are.
It's one of my favorite things people have said to me, and it's like it's not the compliments that people say about my looks. It's about my energy and my soul, my personality. Yeah, I love that. I was gonna say something about how also too with like I'm sorry if I kind of change subjects here. It's the same subject. It's self-love.
Yeah, we're still here. Yeah.
Okay. Before I forget, is I wanted to say that when you love yourself, and you know you can fully love yourself, that's when other people know that you can treat them well. It's because if I see someone that can't love themselves, even if they're a friend or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, if they can't love themselves, they can't treat me right.
You're 100%.
How do I expect them? Yeah. I can't. That's another thing with people with like bad vibes. If I can see that they don't love themselves, I'm like, no, there's no way they can treat me right. So why should I? Like, not should I, but why should I even be around them, knowing who they are to themselves?
I love that. You know, and I've heard it, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm pretty sure it's went in one ear and it's came right out, but it's never really sat with me like that. But you're 100% right. Like if you can't love yourself, you know what I mean? How are you supposed to be able to love me? You know what I mean? Like, how can you love me properly? You barely loving yourself. You know, how can you give me anything when you don't have anything to give? You're not even producing anything. And I never really look at it like that. You know, like when we pay attention to like the red flags, you know, listen to how they talk to themselves, you know, especially on their bad days. Listen to how they talk to themselves on their bad days. Yeah. And you will know exactly how they're going to talk to you on your bad days.
Exactly. People should be in relationships, especially people need to be two wholes falling in love, not each other's halves. Because even if you lose your other half, you'll always be a whole.
Oh my God. You know, we were just talking about this where it's like, this is 2022. You feel me? And we about to go into 2023. I don't know about you, but come healed. You feel me? Like come whole. You know what I mean? Like come whole.
I love that so
you know, it kills me, man. Like when people be like this, like, hey, you know, relationships 50-50. No, the fuck it's not. It's 100-100. You gotta be healed. You had to do that shadow work. You had to do that journey on your own. You're not about to come to me broken and then lie and say that I broke you. You know, so I love that. I love that you just said that. I thought I was the only one that was thinking it, and I'm glad that.
Yeah, you know. I feel like people shouldn't, like, they don't have to be like 1000% healed. Like, you know, but if they're able to do the work on their own and you can be the support, okay. But it's like, as long as they're not relying on you for their happiness, they're relying on themselves to do the work and they have you for that support, great. I will be there for that person. And I see that they're working physically, mentally, spiritually. I'm like, okay, they went through this. They've done this much work so far. They're not, 100% there because there's a little bit of trauma because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. I'm gonna support them as long as they have the good intention for themselves and they're prioritizing themselves in this. I think that's okay.
And I can see that, you know what I mean? Just like how you would come to a friend, to say like, hey, can you give me some advice on this? It's a difference from, can you give me some advice on this to, can you just tell me how to do it? Or can you just, do this for me? And I feel like a lot of times, especially, now that we are paying attention to emotional health, now that we're paying attention to these things, emotional and mental health, it's this idea that it's supposed to just happen like that. You know what I mean? Like, or somebody's supposed to help you do the whole thing. A lot of this has got to be done by you. That's why there's self in it. However, I have no problem being a supporting character in your story. I have no problem being a reoccurring character. Yeah.
I love supportive character. Yes, and I feel like that's like who we should be to our friends, especially is a supportive character. Like guide them, but don't do the work for them. Be like, this is what I think you should do. But like that's all you can do, and it's up to them to do the work. And if they really want to grow, they want to heal. That's the opportunity, right? So I think that's really important.
I completely agree. And in a conversation that you and I had, I just wanted to switch gears. You said something a while back that really sat with me, and it's honestly been on my mind. I want to say for the past 2 weeks, to be honest with you. Was it 2 weeks ago that we talked, or was it a week ago?
I think so. I think it was 2 weeks.
Okay, because my idea of time sometimes is very skewed, right?
Okay.
Days will run together, and I'll think that happened yesterday, and that actually happened 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. No, honestly, yeah. That conversation feels so fresh that we had. I love that conversation that we had. We were talking like boom, boom, boom. Like, I gotta go. But we kept talking.
Hey, you never know. Like, we probably knew each other in the past life. That's all.
Honestly.
That's how, that's usually how it works. That's usually how it works.
Yeah.
But,
so what was it?
higher self versus ego.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and it's, one of those things where it's like, you never want to talk about something that you ain't been through, because if you talk about something you ain't been through, eventually you're going to go through it. And I don't know, I was thinking about it, and boom, it happened to me. And it really put me in the driver's seat of what happened. So I'm working with somebody, they have their job, I have my job. You know what I mean? And he drops the ball on his side. I've done my due diligence, but he drops the ball. So now it's this big rush to get the job done, but he kind of like fucked it up. And I'm like, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That's him. You know what I mean? Like, they was like, did you double tap it? Did you check up on him? Did you do your part to make sure that this was going to be successful? Even if that meant like, dealing with him. And I'm like, initially, I'm like, yeah, I don't know why we're trying to put split the blame. We might as well just go ahead and give him the 100%,
Okay.
And they were like, no, that's not, you are a part of this as well. And somebody pulled me off to the side, and they were like, you got to understand that may have been his job, but that was your priority. And if it was really your priority, Demetrius, you would have took care of it and you would have handled it. And I had to take a step back, and I was like, who's hurt right now? Because I understand exactly what he's saying. Who's hurt right now? Is it my higher self that's hurt, or is my ego hurt right now? And it was my ego. And I remember walking away, and I was like, this, God damn it, Joanna. Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, my ego, it's my ego. You know what I mean? Like, it was my ego that was hurt. And I just really wanted you just to talk a little bit more on that.
Yeah, of course. That's crazy. It's kind of funny how you had a situation come up like that after we had the conversation, because it's in your head. But I think it's really important that we can know who our higher self is and who our ego is. So for example, the ego is the person that is easily hurt. They know they're the best, and if people don't see it, they're gonna feel some type of way. And then there's your higher self, who is, I feel like that's like my kumbaya, like everything works out. If something that I wanted to work out doesn't, I'm still okay, type of person. So when I was going through a breakup, part of me understood why it ended. I was like, okay, you know what? This didn't work out because someone better is out there for me, who's a better fit. And so I was like, okay, I understand. Let's move on. But during the healing process, I was still so hurt. I was like, why am I so upset? I was accepting of this already. And I'm just so hurt. I'm like, every day I wake up, I'm just so depressed. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? And I kind of sat down. I was like, oh my God, it's my ego. My ego's so hurt right now. And I need to find a way to make her feel better. Because no matter what, she's always going to be a part of me. You don't get rid of your ego. There are some good things about your ego. But at the same time, in this situation, she was taking over. She was becoming the villain. That's your villain side.
Yes.
She wanted to, I never let her take over me because I don't go out and hurt people. I rather just, my higher self is powerful enough to be like, no, we don't hurt people. We walk away. We're good. And so, because I believe in karma too. So,
with bad karma. Right.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, I'm trying to work some bad karma out right now. So that's why I'm in Virginia.
So, do you feel that your ego takes over in those situations?
God. Most of the time, yes.
Okay.
I will say, I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, it's okay.
I feel like if I could do percentages, I wouldn't say 50-50. I would definitely say it's definitely a 60. It's a 60-40 where it's ego and higher self a lot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's moments where, and I think me and you talked about it before where he, if somebody said something to me online, my higher self would be like, whatever, bro. Like he's just projected. I immediately know exactly what he's just said to me. Like, he's just projected. My ego is automatically like this. Absolutely not. Who the hell does he think he's talking to? Absolutely not. Is he challenging you right now? Is he trying to like no, man? Like show him that you're educated. Go ahead and throw that out there. And now I'm going through a spat when I know I should have walked away. And one thing that I have promised myself about that, if I respond to a negative comment, then I must immediately respond to a positive comment because I need to balance that. The same energy that I gave him or gave that, I must give to somebody else. So I've been trying to work on it, but yes, my ego has turned me into a villain on too many occasions.
That's exactly it, though. The ego acts on emotion.
Yes.
The higher self is, sat with the situation, is clear-minded, and will make good decisions for you. So in those situations that you're in, you got to really be like, who's really hurt now? Is it my ego or is it my higher self? Because what would my higher self do in this situation?
Yes.
Yeah, and it honestly has helped me decide on a lot of good things. And sometimes you need to give your ego some time to heal because it's going to take over. And you can't really control how long it needs to heal, but you need to take time for it. And once you do, your higher self is back. Like, oh my God, I feel like an angel right now. I'm just like, I'm vibing. I'm good. I let my ego heal. And now I'm just like, I'm focusing on me. I'm happy. And I just feel like it's weird. It's like when you go through a breakup and you're just so depressed, you feel so weighed down. Mm-hmm. But because I let my ego heal and now I'm back to my higher self and I literally feel like I'm vibing. I'm happy.
I love that. Yeah, and I can finally say that. I love that for you. In the right context. In the right context. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much. Yes.
I was sitting back and I was thinking about relationships and where I allowed my ego to get the best of me. And the weird part is that my higher self recognized the entirety of the relationship. It knew it from the very beginning of the relationship and it knew it from the very end of the relationship. And it understood exactly why this was not going to work. It put 1 + 1 was 2 immediately, but just because 1 + 1 was 2 doesn't mean that I didn't like that answer. I didn't like how I felt at the end, so I love the fact that, just because when you say, allow your ego to heal, that resonates because I knew the answer. And I'm trying to force myself to get over this hill. And I'm like, bro, you're hurt, bro. You're legitimately hurt. And it's okay. Mm-hmm. You don't got to tough this out, bro. You can just say it. You know what I mean? You're walking around. You got fog mind. You're fucking in the matrix. You're hurt all the time. You're checking social media. You're really, you're hurting right now, bro. And you need to acknowledge that. And I love the fact that you said, allow your ego to heal.
Yeah. You definitely need to face the ugly parts. You can't just sweep it under a rug and expect to be okay in the future, because if you face it now, if you don't face it now, you're going to face it later. It's not going to go away. So you can decide. You can decide to face the ugly parts where you feel bad for yourself, that you feel like a victim, being like, poor me, I got hurt. I don't like my ex anymore, blah, blah, blah. I hate them, blah, 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 right? Do things. If you go off of emotion, right, and you let your ego take over, you're going to eventually regret the things you did when you let your ego, take, so I never try to take or let my ego take over me. But I did some things. I made some shady TikToks, but it's okay. It wasn't that bad. But I still feel bad about it today, because I'm like, that I was letting my ego take over, and but but yeah, if you let your ego take over during a healing process, you're gonna do things you will regret in the future.
100%. And now that you say that, I sit back and I think about those moments where I allowed my ego to get the best of me, and the things that I said. Like, I said things based off of just hurt, like my emotions, not realizing that, I understand, bro. Like, it is what it is, and I can say that now. You know what I mean? I can easily just say it is what it is and move on. But back then, oh my God, I was a wreck. I was a wreck. And I tried to like put on a facade that I wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're like,
and I would,
yeah.
Oh no, please go ahead.
Oh, no. Yeah, you can keep going. That's okay. I'm just agreeing.
Oh no. And I love the fact that you talk about accountability, taking accountability in the situation and learning from the situation. Because a lot of times you feel me, like, and I'm a firm believer that life, just like how you said, like, you believe in good karma. I believe that life is always going to give you the exact same test until you learn your lesson, and that test may be in different people. It will be in different scenarios. It will be in different situations, but that test is going to keep happening and until you learn. You know what I mean? So like when people are always talking about like, oh, well, I always, I'm always in all men are shit or all women are shit, and every relationship that I get into is always just turns out bad. Sounds like it's a you. You know what I mean? Like, if I may not be the best at math, but like if we just broke everything down, it sounds like the common denominator throughout this is you. And when we talk about accountability, I've learned that like accountability, it only works when you're telling somebody that they need to have accountability. People only want to do that when it's like, hey, you need to have accountability, but you also need to have accountability. You know what I mean? We both were in this relationship. This relationship just didn't sink on its own. Like, I didn't cause it. We both caused this. You know what I mean? There's moments where it just led up to it. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm pretty sure there's moments where, there's relationships where it was just one person who condemned this entire relationship. But accountability is something where you have to accept what happened and the part that you may have played in that scenario.
For sure. 1000%. Yeah. With you saying how people are like, oh, I always like date like bad people. It never works out for me, et cetera, et cetera. I think that's a good opportunity for people to realize where they need to work on with their self-worth and their self-love. Because if you really put your value in yourself and you put all that energy in yourself, you will not even let those people in. You won't even give them the time of day. It's so funny because I look back and see the guys I've dated in the past, and with me growing and my glow up, they come back. They always come back. And now I'm just like, ew.
It's the hey, like, it's the hey big head, or what you doing, or like,
no. No, bro, I can be by myself.
Like,
I'm good.
People, and this is something that a lot of people know, like they feel like they shouldn't say this, you know what I mean? Because it sounds cocky or arrogant. But I'm a firm believer that like I can say that like I'm out of your league. You know what I mean? Like if I tell somebody like I'm out of your league, like I'm not lying. You know what I mean? Like I'm out of it. You know what I mean? And that's no shade to you. It's just me and you ain't we're not even on the exact same. You're asking me about compatibility as far as, if I'm a fire sign or air sign. I need to know what the fuck your trauma responses is, because when me and you get into it, I need to know how you're going to handle this. Me and you are way, you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like you learn that through the journey. You know what I mean? Like when you respect your journey, you understand the trials, the tribulations, and the experience that you gain through it. And you understand, like, like I can't deal with you. I can't, because it's a betrayal to my own journey.
Totally. I think that people it's self-awareness. It's self-awareness. If people don't have self-awareness to what they've dealt with in the past, and if they're like, oh, I don't need to grow, I'm good, I'm happy, I'm just chilling, this is what I do every day, it's like the same cycle of them going to work, doing their 9 to 5, going home, watching TV, go to bed. they're just like doing that, and they have no self-awareness of like, if I keep doing this, I'm just gonna stay here and do a cycle and not grow.
Very stagnant. No.
Yeah,
Very
it's
stagnant.
just the same circle, and I'm like, yeah, if someone has that lifestyle, that's just not for me, and we're just not gonna be a good fit because I'm gonna want to level up. I think life is all about leveling up. Every year, I like to see what I've accomplished. Every year, I like to look at like at beginning of January, I always do like my vision board and be like, what do I see myself doing for 2023? And this is what I want to achieve. And oh my God, looking at my vision board for 2022, almost everything has come true. Anyways, sorry, I'm going off topic a little here, but
congratulations.
Thank you. But what I was saying was that, yeah, people just need to be very self-aware of where they're at as a human. And if people don't see that they want to level up, I already know off the bat, they're not for me.
I completely agree, you know, and I always, in romantic relationships and platonic relationships, I don't know what just happened. Like my brain just like skipped for a second.
No,
but
okay.
The moment that I realized that I wanted to get my shit together, and that's how I always call it, is that like the day that I decided to get my act together, to get my shit together, to start to become a better version, I had to make peace with the fact that I was losing a lot of people in my life.
Ooh.
You know, and I feel like a lot of times like we never talk about that because, you know, it is sad, you know what I mean? Because it's like, here I am becoming this better version, and now I'm starting to second guess it because it's like, dude, like, am I doing something wrong? Like me and you have been friends for X amount of time. Like, why is it that we can't hang out now? You know what I mean? Or why is it that we can't be around each other now? And the realization that I'm losing these people, one, because now my habits have changed, you know what I mean? And when my habits change, so did my mindset. And no, I'm no longer compatible. I no longer can be around you because we're on two different wavelengths now. The frequencies aren't matching.
Yes. Oh, I feel like that's a huge pill to swallow. Oh my Especially God. When you've loved someone so much. Like it's like platonic relationships, like platonic or relationships, sorry. You've known a person for X amount of years. And when you have that shift in your life where you want to grow and you just see that they're not doing it, it's like you kind of just don't want to be around them anymore. Or as much. You can still have so much love for them, but it's just that you want to kind of spend more time with people that will feed your energy instead of draining it.
You want to grow, and it's like, bro, like what you're pouring on me right now is not doing anything for me.
Yes, it's the whole thing of like having the box of these are the friends that are going to help me grow. Yeah. And these are the friends that are just for fun. Yeah. That's it. That. You're either a fun friend or you're a friend that's going to make me grow and I'm going to succeed this way. So I still have love for those people. Don't get me wrong. I still hang out with them and everything.
Yeah, there's no bad blood.
No, I'm just more aware that if I'm around, they might not just understand my goals. They might not understand why I do the things I do. Yeah. It's very, very unfamiliar to them and it makes them uncomfortable, sorry. So I'm just like,
oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No. It is draining for sure. So.
Yeah, it's so draining because it's like, I remember in the beginning of the journey, you know what I mean? Like I'm explaining my aspirations. I'm explaining my plan to people that do not understand the plan. And it's draining because it's like, I feel like I have to convince you, you know what I mean? And I feel like I'm like, you know, that you don't get it. And it's like, I'm trying to get you to get it, but it's like, but then I would tell it to somebody else and they're like, boom, I'm tracking what you're saying.
Yeah. They're like putting water in your garden. They're just like, yeah.
Oh my God. And that felt so good. You know what I mean? Like to be around those people. So I love the fact that you did the, you know, friends I can grow with, friends that I can have fun with. You know what I mean? Because it's not that I don't love y'all. You know what I mean? And it's not that I can't be it's not that there's bad blood between us. But where I'm going, that's not even where you're trying to go. I will want you to go.
I want you to come.
You know what I mean? Like it would be a vibe if you came with us. You know what I mean? It would be a vibe. but I can't force you to do something that you don't want to do. You know what I mean? Like, you got to start your own journey. You got to make peace with your own issues. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that you brought up, you know, the idea of losing a friend and loving a friend. You know, I feel like we don't talk about this, and I know for a fact as males, we're not talking about this, where you can simply love a friend. You know what I mean? Like, and that friend can be another man. You know what I mean? And you do love that person. You know, we look at love and it's like it's supposed to be this big romantic thing. Love is so fluid that I can love you, and when I lose our friendship, I would mourn you as if you died. I remember in the very beginning of my journey, I lost a friend, and I'm talking about I had spent so much time with this person. I've told this person my deepest secrets, my darkest problems. I remember this man came when I was passed out drunk on a patio. You know what I mean? And I was like really like at my lowest points, he was there. And when I started to go, he wasn't, we started to split, and I mourned him. And I mourned him for like months. You know what I mean? Like, and I couldn't understand why I was hurting in this way. And it was my aunt that actually explained it to me. She was the one that actually explained this to me.
It sucks when you kind of mourn someone that's alive. It is worse, I think, because it's like you almost have control in, you know, hoping to build something again, but you also know that maybe it's just not the right time. But I've told you this, I've went through something like that where I lost one of my bestest friends. We went different directions, and eventually we found ourselves again, because I think we had to grow individually on our own, doing our things. And when we both went through something traumatic, we found each other again. And we haven't been separable since. So I'm so grateful that happened. But if you're meant to find someone again, you will find them at the right time.
I completely agree. I agree. You know, like in the beginning of the journey, like, you know, you lose them and you're like, fuck, bro. Like, not realizing that, one, that is a part of your journey, because you got to learn to love yourself by yourself. You got to be able to do that. And also, they have to start their own journey, you know, and once they start to heal, once they start to learn about themselves, when y'all come back, you know, it feels so rejuvenating, because it's like, bro, like, what did you learn while you were gone? You know what I mean? Like, where were you at? You know, and it's so refreshing to be able to reconnect.
It's so nice. And it's kind of funny because I think we had to both let go of our relationships that we were very dependent on. And when we kind of both released it, that's kind of like, that was the time where we had each other, and then we had our self-love journeys. So we are thinking about it. We both didn't do like a lot of work before we met up. We actually were there for each other to grow, because she was going to always be, no matter what it was, I knew she'd always be a good support. So when I found out she was single, everything that we went through, I dropped automatically. My higher self was like, my ego, let it go. I was like, I love this girl. I'm going to be there for her. And we just became like the best of friends, and I have her back. And we've always, like, since then, we've promised each other that no matter what happens, we'll get through it. We're not going to leave each other ever again. So,
and that's something that, like, you know, it's always good to have, especially like a person that's, you know, somebody that you could have in your corner like that, especially on that journey. You know what I mean? Like, especially as like you grow, you know, it just feels, it's good to be able to do it by yourself, but it feels great when you have somebody there with you, you know?
Sorry, I was going to say, she's one of my twin flames.
Yeah.
That really? I found again. Yeah. Remember we talked about that? Yeah. 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 And that's how we found each other again. And then I guess the universe was like, you guys need each other. You guys are both going through this right now. So you guys can grow together. And we have. Yeah.
What is this? I wonder if this is like my 4th or 5th time saying this, but I love that for you. I love that. You know, and I don't want people to think that I'm just not genuine about it, you know, but no, I do love that.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's funny. Maybe kind of like, because you haven't said that before.
Yeah, so yeah, I do. I love that for you. And I'm pretty sure like people are probably thinking like, oh, he's not genuine about any of this. And it's not that. It's just I recently just learned it. And every time I think about it now, I can just see that lady looking at me with like half of my tooth missing and saying, I love that for you.
Oh my God. It's that's funny because I feel like that's a saying me and my friends say like to each other all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
What does
like,
it mean?
So it's just like say that like for example, like with me being like, yeah, like I'm healed now, I'm happy and all this stuff. I'm doing all these things for myself. And then friends say, I love that for you.
I love that for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because me walking in fucking, it's in my damn hands. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, yeah, so my crown broke and I kind of need this to get fixed. And she looked up at me and said, I love that for you.
I feel like she was being sarcastic.
I know she was, dude. Like, I know she was being facetious, and I'm just like, when she said it, I was like, there's nothing to fucking love here right now. There's nothing to love right now.
What was your reaction? You're like,
When she did it, I was like, thank you. Like, I know you don't mean that. I know you don't mean that.
Yeah.
But I feel like she didn't know what to say. So I assumed that she felt like she had to say something. She didn't know what to say. She was just like,
she could have been like, oh no.
Oh no. Your smile's ruined.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? So
I don't know. That's how she
know.
is as a human.
Yeah, I think so. Like, like did you see like the TikTok video where like it's this husband and wife and like the wife ends up letting these center blocks go and it falls on the husband's like hands and you can see the husband just like walk away and you can tell obviously he's mad and you see the wife and this is what's funny is like body language is such a big thing and it's always been a big thing to me. If you look at her fingers, she's playing like the anxiety piano. When like somebody like starts to tap on things and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I love that for her. I love that for her. Her trauma response is not fight. I can tell you that right now.
Okay. Yeah.
She is trying to she wants to get out of that situation so bad. She's like, oh dear. Well, don't know what else to tell him. I'm sorry.
I love that for her.
I love that for you.
Oh my God.
You broke his thumbs, so this is going to be such a beautiful moment for y'all. I love that for y'all. I love this.
Oh my God. I don't know if I would use in that context, but
I feel like with my personality, it's one of those things where it's like it integrated and in my job, I've learned to use it. And I feel like I'm not using it in the way that it's supposed to be used. Like I'll see somebody has a bloody nose and they're walking by me and I'm just like this. I love that for you. I love that for you.
I can
and
see
I'm
that.
like this, Demetrius, you really need to get your energy together. Your energy is bad. You're the bad energy again. You're
the lady at the dentist office.
You're that lady at the dentist. He's hurt. And you just looked him in the face and said, I love that for you. I love that for you.
Me, I'm like very like sensitive, like, why?
And that's the thing is like, I remember there was a moment where I was just so, I don't know how do I say this? I remember where I would literally just be like feeling like I would have to make up the emotional like residual of the room. Like I felt like if the emotions in the room was at like a 5 and we needed to be at a 10, you know what I mean? Like I felt like I would have to fill in that void a lot. And a lot of times like I would sit back and this is stuff that I've learned and this just comes back down to just naturally fawning all the time. Where I felt like I had to, fill in the blank of things that I didn't even fucking create. So now I sit there and like it'd be a full-on emergency, and I'm just like this. I love that. I'm so happy for him. They're like this. Hey, so and so felt that. Good for him. Good for him. And they're like, why would you say that? I was like, this because maybe that was good for him. I don't know. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? There's nothing I can do for him.
It's already done. It's like
it's hard.
No point of making it more stressful than it is already. So
absolutely. I'm one of those people that's like, once I realized that it wasn't my responsibility, and this is something that I think is always big in the journey, is the things that you learn and the things that you practice. Because we talk about healing, we talk about like this thing of, I'm practicing these things, but are you really practicing them? Are you putting them into practical use? And when I realized that I fawned, you know what I mean? Or I always take the blame. I made an active choice to stop doing that.
I love that for you.
Do you?
I love that for you. No, I really do, because that's something I want to be a bit stronger on, is not always being the person that's saying sorry, especially if I know I wasn't in the wrong.
100%.
It's just like I'm a people pleaser. I've learned that, because I don't want things to go negatively and always make people happy. But at the same time, that was something that a lot of toxic people were able to do to me, is make me feel bad if they weren't happy in a situation. And I'd always end up apologizing because I didn't want it to be any bigger than it is. But I'm like, my feelings are as important as theirs. So why do I always have to apologize? Yeah, they're completely valid. And it's like, I'm done apologizing. I'm letting my ego take control of these situations, because that's the girl that's like fearless. And that's the positive thing about the ego, is that they won't let people just beat them down. They're going to stand up for themselves in that way. So yeah, that's something I really want to grow in, because I'm such a positive person, but I need to be able to stand up for myself and have a backbone when I need to, because I can't let people walk all over me.
I completely agree, and I appreciate you for sharing that, like that, like we me and you, we feel comfortable sharing things, and sometimes like we may or may not realize like what we share is that's a burden for somebody else, you know what I mean? But we've been over it, we've been around it, you know what I mean? We've made peace with it, the elephant's in the room, and I'm tossing it peanuts, you feel me? And to say that you're a people pleaser, I'm a people pleaser. You know what I mean? Like that's one of my biggest things. That's like a toxic trait of mine, or a negative trait about me. And how I was able to work through that was, I think one time something happened in an office, and I was in it. And the guy, like our boss, he comes in and he was upset, and I apologized. And I walked away, and I was like, wait, what the fuck did I do? I didn't do anything. I was like, why am I apologizing? And I turned around. I was like, you know what? I was like, no, I take that back. Like, dude, like I don't apologize, because I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? I hate that you feel that way about however this situation has made you feel, but I have no part to play in this, and I'm not about to apologize for it.
Yes.
And I think the biggest thing about it is that, you gotta stick to your guns, because a lot of times, like, because people pleasers, like we feel bad for doing these type of things. We feel bad for holding the line to our boundaries.
Yeah, like it's like in these situations, it's really important for us to know knowing what was our intention in the situation. Because if my intention was negative, I will apologize. But if I was not, what happened wasn't intentional, it just happened, the other person needs to understand that too. They can't just put the blame on me because they're upset of that hurting them.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, but understand what the intention was in that situation.
100%.
Because
oh no, please.
If I wasn't intentionally trying to hurt your feelings, because you're gonna feel some type of way from what happened, it's not my job to be like, oh, like I will say I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm not gonna be like, I'm sorry I did this, because I didn't intentionally want you to feel this way. So
And I always lead with, and I tell people this, especially if I have to give my opinion. I'm like this, you know. I'm pretty sure y'all appreciate my honesty, because if you didn't appreciate my honesty, you wouldn't be asking me about my opinion. So I'm going to give it. You know, I apologize if this is how you're going to feel about this. However, this is what I'm seeing. This is how I feel. You know, and I feel like a lot of times it's like, especially like if you're a people pleaser, you know, you condition people to treat you a certain way. You know what I mean? Like you unknowingly become their emotional punching bag. They're having a bad day, and you now have to, you know, take the burden of their negative emotions. And it's like, bro, like I'm already carrying this. I got to carry my own negative emotions. I can't carry yours, and I can't be responsible for your negative emotions.
Yep. Yeah, people need to be more self-aware and understand people's intentions, because if people's intentions aren't like, they intentionally weren't trying to hurt you or like, you know, make you upset, like they have to understand that.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I feel like being a people pleaser, you're an easy punching bag for sure.
Oh my God. And it's been, and it's easy because it's been like that for years. You know what I mean? Like it's been like, you've been like this for years. So it's not like you woke up one day and was like, all right, well, go ahead and emotionally punch me in the face. No, I was like this as a kid. You know what I mean? I was like this as a kid. And then I grew into it, and it just became such a second nature for me. The same way, like if somebody's trauma response is to fight, their second nature is to say something. They don't, even if they know they shouldn't say something, something's already pushing them to say like, hey man, nah, you need to go ahead and just get that off your chest and just send it, you know? Or somebody's like to flee or freeze. Like it's a second nature for them, you know? So it, you know, to break that cycle for you is such a hard thing. And I'm so happy. And I love that for you. I love that you're making the, you know, the cognitive, you know, the conscious decision to say like, you know, no, like it's not my problem.
I feel like this is like a realization recently too, where I was like, I'm done apologizing. I am done apologizing because I know I'm a good person. I know I have good intentions for people, and I don't hurt people on purpose. It's never a thing. I know who I am. So when people make me feel that way, I'm like, that's not fair.
Yes.
That's not fair. I know who I am. And I believe in karma. So why would I put myself in that situation?
You know, I'm one of those people that's like, I wouldn't do that to you. You know what I mean? Like, and this is where I get my ego will emotionally get offended. You know what I mean? Yeah. Is I'll sit there and I'm like this, I wouldn't do that to you. You know what I mean? Like, so why would you do that to me? You know what I mean? Like, I know I wouldn't do that to you. I've never done that to you. So why would you do that to me? And that's where I'm hurt and I'm offended. So I know, so when I decided to say like, hey, no, I'm not filling that void for you, I meant it.
Yes, 1000%. I feel like people should share their feelings.
Yes.
And if you explain to them what has happened, what the situation was, like my intentions weren't wrong, and they still come after you, that's when I draw the line. I'm like, you can tell me how you feel, but you need to understand too who I am. Because if I'm your friend, you're going to understand that my intentions weren't wrong, and you're going to hear that from me, knowing what happened in my position. That's your opportunity to understand. But when you don't understand after I explain it to you and you're still coming after me, I'm out. I'm like, no, I'm not apologizing for this.
100%. I feel like one thing, especially in friendships, you know what I mean? Like, is that, you know, and I have a friend of mine that we're real good about this. We're really good about this. Is that like, if I ask him for advice, he says, what advice are you looking for? Do you want it from a business perspective or you want it from a friend's perspective? You know what I mean? I need, you know, like we always change perspectives. Like he'd be like this, like he'll say like, look at it from CEO's perspective. You know, what would you, you know, do if this was one of your employees? Because we work together as well. You know, so when I would talk to him about ideas with the podcast, you know, I would shoot an idea to him and he'll be like, you know, what perspective do you want? You know, do you want it from my perspective or do you want it from a business perspective? And I was like, which one do I need first? Give me the business perspective. Give me the business perspective. Yeah. And he'll tell it to me. And sometimes it may be good. You know, or it'd be like this. Absolutely not. That is not marketable. Or don't do that. You know what I mean? Don't do that. And I'm like this. All right. So what was the friend going to say? He's like this. Oh, the friend thought it was good. He thought it was good. You know, you're just not going to make any fucking money off that.
He's supportive. It's good. It's fine.
You know, just if you were trying to market that, I can just tell you right now, it's not going to work out. You know, and I feel like that's one of the biggest things is that like, as a people pleaser, like you can't be a great friend to somebody because you're trying to please them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But the thing is that honesty may not please you, but it might be the thing that you actually need. You know what I mean? And I feel like,
Mhm.
like the biggest responsibility that we have to our friends is to be honest. They may not like the honesty in the moment, you know what I mean? And then just to piggyback off of what I'm about to say now, to caveat, that's it. I use it in the proper context. To caveat off of that is that, your honesty will hurt somebody. It will. And when you understand that honesty does hurt people, you as the friend have to be prepared for that and have to come at it in that direction. You can't just be
Yep.
shooting shit off and just think that it's okay because you said it.
Yep. I feel like self-awareness is a curse and a blessing in that case.
Yes.
Because when you're more self-aware, you kind of see how people are to you, especially if you've known them for years. And man, like realizing a lot, I'm like, I love that I'm self-aware, but I also hate it because I wish I didn't realize this about you.
Oh my God. Like when I realized what self-awareness was, like the idea of how, not only how you respond to understanding how you respond in certain situations and things respond to you, so it's like, I understand what you just said to me. I'm aware of that, but I'm also aware of what I said to you and how it made you feel. Like that was like the biggest thing that I had to learn.
Yes. You have to understand how you saw it and how they saw it. And sometimes maybe you were in the wrong. But also you'll apologize for it.
You know what I mean? Because once you understand like ego and higher self, like your ego may be like this, I ain't apologizing to shit. Your higher self is like, you were wrong. You were wrong.
Yeah, admit it.
You know what I mean?
Human. You're human. You make mistakes and that's okay.
And I feel like that's the big thing right there. We're human. We make mistakes.
Yes.
We are emotional creatures. It's despite how much people try to say like, oh, I'm cold-hearted. No, you're not. You'll be dead. You'll be dead. No, you're not. You'll be dead.
Do you
You're
feel
not
something?
cold-hearted.
You're good.
You feel that pulse? You're still a warm-blooded creature. I know you want to be, what I mean? But you're not. And, we have to understand and we have to respect the fact that we are imperfect creatures and we will make mistakes.
Yes. Yep. You will. And that's how you learn though, too.
Absolutely.
That's how you learn. And it's like kind of when the universe gives you those situations and they put you through that same thing until you learn it. And honestly, 100%. I feel like every time the universe has done that to me and I've leveled up because of self-love. It's because I chose myself in those situations or I saw where I needed to grow. I leveled up. And every single time I go through that, I just feel it just better with myself. And no matter what, I know that I'm not always going to be happy. Something's going to happen. And that's where I need to, that's the opportunity of growth. So, it's honestly, self-love is really what will make you level up in every single situation, really.
Absolutely. And once again, pretty sure I probably said this. I don't know. This has have to be like the 6th time I've said it, but I love that for you.
I feel like this episode should be called "I Love That for You."
I love that for you. I love that for you with J-Ma. But as we come to a close to this episode, is there any final words that you would like to say?
That I am so happy we are friends.
I appreciate that.
And I really think that I love surrounding myself with people like you who are like-minded and who I can learn stuff from, because I know that everything I know right now isn't everything. And there's so much more to this world, to self-love, to individual growth that I can learn. So I'm excited for this friendship to grow. And I really hope we can do this again. This was so fun.
100%. Definitely would love to have you back on the show again.
Yeah, I would love that.
And just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope you enjoyed this episode half as much as I enjoyed making it. Stay tuned every Monday as we bring you another episode. And lastly, don't forget to like this podcast, subscribe to this podcast, and share this podcast, because this podcast was dedicated to helping you become a better version of yourself. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but just like we need more sleep, just like we need more money, we deserve to be a better version of ourselves. Stay hungry, stay motivated. I'm out.